Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I am here with John Krol, former Ward 6 City Councilor.
First of all, before we get into anything, I just want to say this is amazing. You know, what you've created here, Mike, this studio. And by the way, this is not the only studio. There are several other studios, and I'm sure, but I got to take a tour of it. You know, I know more than anybody the heavy lift that it is to do something like this, so I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
And I also appreciate everything that you've done up until this point. You know, your contribution to the community has been remarkable. And I'm sure that there are a lot of places that you could have put the studio, you know, maybe in another community or maybe another place in Pittsfield. But it's my sense that you chose downtown for a reason. And,
absolutely.
And I want to acknowledge that and thank you for that. This is really remarkable. So
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited for you. I really am. So I think it adds, you know, we talk about a diversity of offerings in our downtown, and this is something that's different, that gives a little bit more flavor to our front doorstep, and you should be commended. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that because this, you know, as you do this, and it's been quite the undertaking.
It is something. You should do some tours here and have people see all the nooks and crannies in different studios. I'm really excited for it. Musical performers.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. The late night stuff's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But so you I don't know if you saw, I did an interview with our City Council President, Peter Marchetti.
Sure.
And both of you have come out with intentions of running for mayor next year, and that's why I wanted to have you on here and talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a early announcement. It wasn't really my intention necessarily to announce it, but I haven't hid it at all. I've been talking to people for several months about it and telling people that I am running for mayor. You know,
I've been saying it for a year.
Yeah, it's no secret. You know, I think now is when you look at something like this. This is a position that it's not about you. It's not about you know, your professional career or anything like that. It's a position that's about our community. And you get to a certain point in your life, and you know, I've contemplated running in the past, 2013, 2015, and I can tell you today, with my life experiences and the things that I've been through in life, and soul searching that I've done, and new changes that I have in my life. I just got married.
Yes, congratulations
once
on
again, which was tremendous. Now for me is a time when I think I can be the very best mayor that I can possibly be. You know, I feel like in this city we have people who are passionate, whether it's, you know, when I see people coaching baseball, and I coach with my kids in baseball, our teachers, our volunteers in our community, what you do, there's a lot of passion for Pittsfield, and I really believe that we deserve a mayor who can emanate that same passion, that has the same drive and the same energy. I think our people deserve that, and that's the only way I know how to be a mayor. You know, I think when I first came back to the city, I was a journalist for some time, and I was in North County and South County. I came back to work for Mayor Roberto at the time because I felt like I could do something special in my hometown. And it's that same fuel today that drives me. And, you know, I think we have an opportunity. We had a great downtown revitalization during that era. I think we have an opportunity to do a 2.0 in downtown, and then also address a lot of issues that I think have been lingering for some time. So I'm stoked. I'm really excited about the year ahead, and I just can't wait to get started.
Yeah, and it's, you know, there's so much on the table for change with a new chief of police that will be coming in, and new city council president, new mayor, a lot.
Yes.
And then a lot of things that have been discussed for a while too, building a new police department or police station.
Sure.
Schools are always being talked about. I know.
I mean, you know, there's so many things to look at. You know, so for me, the schools are first and foremost. To me, it's like your top three concerns: education, education, education. The reason why is that people are making decisions every single day on whether or not to invest in Pittsfield based on the quality of our schools. And when it comes down to it, we have an opportunity for sure. Our pain point right now is in the middle schools. There's no question about it. That's where the major loss of school choice students is. We have our biggest deficit in the middle school areas. And I think there are things that we've done in the past that we can re-examine and go back to and be more successful. My feeling is that we need to take more resources and put it in the classroom. Teachers have more difficult jobs, and I'm married to a teacher.
Right.
I know it. I know things intimately about what's happening in the classroom, and I think it's important. I have 3 children in the Pittsfield Public Schools. So I'm interacting with teachers every single day and with administration. The job of a teacher is much more difficult than it ever was, and you know that, and it's been said many times. So we need to give our teachers the tools that will allow them to succeed and allow our children to succeed. So that's a big deal for me, and I think I'll probably be more active in the schools than most other mayors because of that. And I feel like there are some things that we can do that will enhance our schools. We need to make sure that people are choosing Pittsfield for the schools, because when people leave Pittsfield and they go to Lenox and they go to Richmond or they go to other communities, we're not only losing the revenue from that student, we're losing families.
Yes.
They're a part of the fabric that are here. They're joining the PTAs and PTOs in other school districts. They're getting together and doing activities in other communities. We got to bring them back here.
I absolutely agree with that. The arts is one I'd like to see a lot more attention on in the public schools. And the arts are a great way to build community, to get the youth really engaged in community and family.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on that. That's huge.
Yeah, and for me, the downtown we're the Berkshire city. And when it comes down to it, I go to Lenox and the streets are packed, even through the fall and even through the winter time. You go to Great Barrington, the streets are packed with shoppers during the holiday season. And there are so many great stores here, and people are and by the way, it was an amazing week before my wedding. All my boys, they were fitted and had this amazing experience with Stephen Valenti, the legend, right? Going through that. My youngest thought he looked like James Bond,
Very cool.
in his tux. It was so cool. And then the next day, they got their haircut at the Franklin Barbershop, and they had never done that before, and they had to get cleaned up before the wedding, and they were on cloud 9. So those are the experiences that you remember as a kid. And I remember growing up, my first movie was at the Palace Theater. It was Return of the Jedi back in 1983, so I'm dating myself, but
Well, I saw the first Star Wars there.
yeah. But then, you look over time, as I became, a teenager and so forth, that's when the downtown became barren. So my childhood, downtown was not like how it is today. So
Right.
The work that we've done has gotten to us where it is a destination, but we need to amp that up. We need to amp that up by being more business friendly. For me, it's too hard to do business in Pittsfield. I talk to a lot of business owners, and I know you do too. And when people are trying to start businesses, particularly in food service, in the food industry, there are great challenges. And sometimes people just aren't able to open up after they go through the process. Others who are trying to expand, it's very difficult. So there are things in our city process, in our permitting process, we got to follow codes. Make no mistake about it. But there are ways that we can make things more efficient and effective. And then also, especially when it comes to some of that upfront capital investment. So for example, Lindsay at Berkshire General Store, she's leaving. She's spent her time in downtown Pittsfield. She was a great store at the Berkshire General Store. She's leaving. Actually, I think tomorrow's her last day.
All right.
She's looking for someone to replace her. But there are infrastructure improvements that have to be done with the hood and other elements to allow it to continue. Or if another vendor would come in or another owner would come in, maybe create a small restaurant, a bagel shop. Boy, we could use that in downtown Pittsfield. How do we do that? So if it's a $30,000, $50,000 investment, how do we find a way to make that palatable how can PERC, the Pittsfield Economic Revitalization Corporation, utilize the resources that the city gave them through the Pittsfield Economic Development Fund to better to make it easier for businesses to start. So those are the things that I will be aggressively seeking out. Because we have to be more business friendly. Because
it is all economics.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to address crime, you want to address all that. You have to address the economics of it.
If you bring more people and more energy into our downtown and into our neighborhoods, and I don't want to forget Morningside, the West Side. I represented the West Side for a decade. But if you can bring more energy and more activity, then that addresses crime in a lot of ways. But as far as crime, no one has that answer. There's no silver bullet, as it were. I look at the turnover and Chief Wynn. I thank him for his service, and I know that his last day is like July 4th, I think it is, or 5th of next year. My hope is this.
Don't they generally, with retirement like that, is the end of the fiscal years?
Right.
Okay.
And so my hope is this, is that when they choose a successor for Chief Wynn, my hope is that individual remains a acting chief at that point. I think the new mayor should be making the decision.
I agree.
On whether that person remains or if it's a permanent chief position, or again, if we go in the direction of taking that position out of civil service. And that has been a conversation in our community for a long time. But the point is, I think it's really important for the new mayor to have that vision as to what the police department will look like. It's a unique position. And again, Chief Wynn, I commend him for his service. That position as a permanent chief is a position that has more stability, as it were, than even the mayor's position.
Right.
You're essentially the chief for life because of civil service and the nature of it. I'm not sure if that's the right approach. So I think that's something we need to talk about. I don't have the answer personally. I want to learn more. But I think having the elected official, being the mayor, being able to have a working relationship where you're able to manage.
And definitely there'll be that whole civil service discussion
Of
because
course.
that's
absolutely. So
that is coming to a
and I think so I think we need to re-examine that conversation. But I believe it's important that that Linda does not hire a permanent chief before the next term. And if she runs again, then I still think that it should be the case.
I don't think she's going to run, but that's just my opinion.
That's but and on that, I just want to say, I'm running for mayor. And I don't really look at it as, well, this one is running or that one is running, because that can change. People can say they're running and then they can drop out, or other people can jump in the race.
Everyone should be encouraged to run for
and
office.
Everybody should be. I do really believe that. And we've had this conversation before. I know you're contemplating running for mayor. So when we had that conversation, I was like, the more the merrier, because that leads to more conversation, more ideas, and it's a
people
good thing.
should never be afraid to get involved in civics.
Yes.
It should be encouraged.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd like to see more of our politicians in the schools talking to the kids about why you need to get involved in your community. This community has that cloud over it where people are like, oh, I could never put myself or my family through that. And I hate hearing that because it shouldn't be that way. And I get politics everywhere are politics, but it should be encouraged.
And sure, that is the case. And so, for me, it's about presenting a vision, presenting ideas, and truly, my campaign, the only way I know how to run a campaign is through a powerful, what we call a ground game.
Have you already started putting a team together?
I have. I look at it as an organic process. I don't say that, okay, well, by February we're going to have the team in place, because campaigns, by their very nature, should be organic. You don't know who's going to jump on and who's going to be inspired, and the people who may surprise you. So you never want to limit yourself as far as that goes, and I've found some of the best and greatest volunteers on campaigns in the past have been people you never would have expected. And for me, that's how I approach it. So so I don't look at it and say, okay, here are my 8 people. Here's the I like to keep it open ended. I definitely have my core. I have my family. That's very important.
Right.
Clara, my wife, my mom, Beverly. She's my treasurer, and people. You need people who you can absolutely trust.
It is building a team, and it is a sport.
Yeah, it is.
It's a full contact sport.
It is, and campaigns. I mean, they have an evolution, and there are different chapters of campaigns, and the early part is exciting, and then you get to the dog days of summer, and and you're knocking on doors, and people are on vacation, and and you have team members who maybe not as motivated, and it's just like a team. You are. It's the long haul of a baseball season.
It's a full year of it.
You get there, and I love it. I love every bit of it. And for me, there's nothing. I know this sounds crazy, but there's nothing I love more than knocking on doors. I truly love it. There's something about meeting people at the doorstep, understanding their perspective, and I think it's very important, because I do believe that there is never a time when you have a better and truer snapshot of how people are thinking and feeling than when you are in the middle of a campaign. Because you could be mayor for 2 years, and certainly you have people who you talk to during that time, but and you may have a sense of things. But I don't think you truly have a better sense as when you're going through that process.
Well, I hope this year is a healthy, clean, engaging campaign season.
I think it will be. I think it will be.
I do too.
For me, it's a situation where that's how I know how to campaign, and so we'll be doing house parties, we'll be doing the coffees, whatever you want to call it. Obviously the door knocking is a big part of that, and the events, the fundraisers, and all that. But I think the true art is in the listening, and I think people have a conception sometimes of politicians that they're all talk, but a great campaign and a good candidate, a really great candidate, is the person who's able to take in the feedback and understand, truly create the themes. And I think some of the conversations that I've had early have been with a lot of business owners. So the idea of being more business friendly has really come organically through business owners, because
right.
I'm hearing specific stories, and I'm not going to name specific businesses, but there are businesses who would be in Pittsfield today if our process was different, and they decided to open up somewhere else. And there are stories, and I can probably name 5 off the top of my head. I won't, because I don't want to name specific businesses. But the point is, there's 2 things. There's a perception that doing business in Pittsfield is harder. So that may stop people from even beginning the process. But then when you get into the process, there are ways. And by the way, our inspectors, everyone who works for the city, they're tremendous, and they do their job. It takes the mayor, and it takes a concerted effort to find a way to make that process more efficient and customer friendly.
Have you put together Facebook or a way for people to contact you and all that yet? Or
well, I mean,
it is early.
Yeah. So I have my personal Facebook. Certainly, there's the podcast page, but nothing formal.
Which has been going strong.
Hey, it really is a reflection. I mean, it's the continuation of. I love this. This is great. I mean, you're doing it. This is amazing. It's like the Today Show of Pittsfield, and I did some of that before. But for me, I mean, we had a 2.5-hour conversation with me, and there's something about the intimacy of the audio, of the sort of radio feel, and I love that. So I feel like that's going back to the roots of my broadcast career, and it's about stories. I mean, and just like when you're knocking on doors, you never know what you're going to hear or what you're going to run into. some of the story. I mean, the things you told me about your background.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I'm like, what? Wait, he was in a storage container like 16 hours a day? No way. But there you are, and the
in-depth stuff is very cool. I enjoy listening.
Yeah, thank you. On
that note, my little timer's buzzing.
Okay.
But I can't wait to do more of these, and hopefully we've got a whole bunch coming up over the next year.
Yeah.
So you're more than welcome anytime you want to come on. I'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And I thank you for taking the time to do this and letting everybody know, you know, on It's Pittsfield Tonight that yes, you are a candidate next year for mayor.
I am, and thank you for the time. Thank you for the tour. And from Cara and me and my family, happy holidays.
Same
Merry
to you.
Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yes, and congratulations again on your marriage.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Well, I will talk to you soon.
Wait, what is it? What's the term?
We're going to jump right out of it.
We'll jump right. Love it. All right, man.